Hello everybody, good evening. Good afternoon. It's now 5:35 p.m. over here in somewhere in Texas, over here in AutoZone. How you doing guys? What's up? How's everything? Remember when I was talking about the restaurants? The bad, the good and the ugly. About restaurant, diners, and those places, those eateries and stuff like that. And I already showed you, and I went through details. I went through the worst restaurants and the good restaurants and the real good ones, and where to go, where not to go. And I hope you got that down pat. I'm just want to do a full recap over here. I think this is my last episode. This is episode, I think it's for 15, season 1. I was going to do season 2 and 3, but I'm not sure. But what I'm trying to say is that yesterday, I was sitting down and I was thinking about, restaurants, how they make up these names, and you say, wow, this restaurant has to be real good because it got this famous name, And something? I'm going to be very honest. I don't even care about names anymore because in a way, yes, in a way, no. But there's a catch to it because, for example, I was thinking about El Sabor, la capital de sabor, the capital of flavor. It's a restaurant. It's a small little restaurant. It looks like a small little diner. It's like long, like a train, like that, like a trailer. And I told you, I went there and I was totally disappointed because they had the air conditioning very, very high, like high, okay? That it was cold, and then they had the nurse to tell me, listen, a lot of people, they were complaining that it was too hot. Come on, are you serious? Okay. Anyway, the food got cold. That's how bad it was. So whoever's complaining over there that they're hot, they're eating their food very fast. So when I want to go to a restaurant and enjoy my dinner, my lunch, my breakfast, I want to sit down, take my time, relax, have a good time, have a good cup of coffee, and that's it. Not this freaking rushing thing that you have to rush. So anyway, when a restaurant puts a name like that, the capital of flavors, the capital of flavor. When you say that, when you put a name like that, you have to really mean it. In other words, if it's true, you have to back up your claim, and that is, you gotta cook. You gotta cook down a storm. You gotta know how to cook. You gotta know how much flavor you're gonna put in this food. What is the condiments and how much, how less, more, little bit, whatever. You have to make up your own taste. You gotta make up your own flavor. You cannot copy nobody else's. If you copy somebody else's, and then what's gonna happen? You're gonna be a copycat, and then people are not gonna like that. So there's a lot of restaurants like that. They put these amazing names, and when you go in there, it's like we say in Spanish, un disparate. Un disparate mean like nonsense. Like, what the heck are they doing over here? So they have restaurants like that all over the world, all over the United States, especially in the United States, that they claim that their name backs up the credentials, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Like El Capital de Sabor, the capital of flavor. I don't know. I believe that if you're gonna make a name, make sure that every plate in that restaurant backs up your claim or the name of your restaurant. You understand? Okay. As a matter of fact, don't put like in Brooklyn many years ago when I was in Brooklyn. I remember these stores They used to say the best coffee in town, or the best coffee in Brooklyn, or the best coffee in Staten Island. And I used to go there, and the coffee tastes like water. So my question is, how in the world do people go there to drink that coffee and say that it's the best coffee in New York? When I know about coffee, I've been drinking coffee since I was a little kid, since I was 5, 6, 7, whatever, and I know what coffee is. I know how coffee, I know the degree of strong, regular, and whatever. But to taste like water, to taste like they grind pieces of cotton, I don't know how they conclude with that name, the best coffee in town. I don't know, maybe people are used to that nonsense, drinking water, tinted water. Like they get water and then they get a dye, and they drop a couple of drops and it turns brown, and that's coffee. It has coffee flavor, but it's water. That's what it is, if you're asking me. And sometimes it could be that maybe maybe they're buying the wrong coffee, or they're buying a cheap brand, or real cheap brand that hasn't got no flavor whatsoever, that is mixed with God knows what. And like I said, many years ago, even in the airports, I remember back in the 80s, the coffee was like they took cardboard and they grind it with coffee. That's how it tastes like. It tastes horrible, terrible, miserable. And then, if you remember, back in I think it was the 90s, this coffee shop started popping up, like Starbucks, and this other coffee shop, and this coffee shop, and that coffee shop. And they were serving real coffee that really hits you like that and wakes you up. That's what I'm talking about. Because I make my own coffee anyway, by the way. But there are coffees that a lot of people cannot take, especially the Bustelo coffee. The Bustelo, they serve it a lot in Miami, especially among the Cubans. They love that coffee. That coffee is strong. They got little shots like that, little shots, tiny little shots. You go like that, and that thing keeps you awake all day. Because they make it real strong. I mean, extremely strong. And you got instant coffee. You got this kind of coffee, whatever have you. I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. Those coffee things that, for example, like these machines like this, these machines, I have a hard time making coffee on one of these. I'm gonna tell you the honest truth. I got a problem making coffee. I don't know what it's about. I don't know what it is. I cannot get along with those coffee pots. I can't. I get lost making coffee on that thing. I'm also putting the machine myself. I put water, I put the coffee in the middle, and that's it. I put milk inside, and that's it. But I'm saying about restaurants. A lot of restaurants, they serve terrible coffee. Like La Tapatio restaurant from Jalisco, they're the worst. When it comes to coffee, the worst. It's like, I don't know where they get that coffee from. They must grow in the backyard somewhere. I don't know where it is. But the thing is, if people are gonna create a restaurant for the first time, and you put this name, and all of a sudden people go there, and if the name doesn't match, you got a problem. You have a problem in your hands. People are gonna get turned off. So, for example, like the Colombian restaurant in Jackson Heights in Queens, it's a Colombian restaurant. They stand by the name, La Brisa de Colombia. The food there is delicious. And also they have another Colombian restaurant down the block. I think it's on 70 something street, around not 70. You got Jackson Heights And you got, before that, there's some area, there's some restaurants there, the Colombians, I went there, but they got expensive. They got very expensive. Like, I mean, they went the deep end, charging too much money. Now, if you want to taste some good Afghanistan restaurant, if you want to taste real good, authentic Afghanistan food dish, go to the Afghan Caravan in between 51st and 52nd on 9th Avenue. You're going to love this place. You're going to love it. You got to try the chicken tandoori. You got to try the shish kebab, the lamb kebab. You got to try the Kabuli palau. Oh, you got to try it. You got to try it. And you want some good Cuban food? There is some spots in New York, but I forgot where they were at. But if you really want to taste some good Cuban food, it's on Bergen Line and 41st Street, I think it is. It's called El Artesanal, something like that. And they make good food there. You gotta go there. There's Cubans. They've been there for a long time. Then you got the Rumba Cubana, which is all the way down by Secaucus on Talani Road on 50 something. I think it's 48 or 45. You gotta try the picadillo, the Cuban picadillo, very delicious, and I recommend those places. But anyway, like I was saying, that any restaurant that wants to make people come back, you gotta know how to cook. You gotta know how much are you gonna apply to it, whatever, how the chicken's gonna come out, and all that kind of stuff. Everything has to rhyme with the name of the restaurant. If it doesn't rhyme, you got a problem. Go to McDonald's, go to Burger King, and that's it. Don't waste your time, because I wasted time before. I went to restaurants and I wasted a lot of time. I should have gone to McDonald's. Anyway, so that's it. You know, that's what I wanted to share. You know, like I said, if you plan to open a restaurant, just be careful. Make sure that your name of your restaurant backs up your plates, all of them, not just one, every one of them. And then you're gonna see how people are gonna come back, and people are gonna come back. People are gonna keep coming back. And when you look at it, you're filthy rich. It's like this Puerto Rican restaurant in the Bronx. There was this guy. He made $3 million in 5 years. He made $3 million, and because he was cooking fresh every day he was cooking fresh. The food that he had leftovers, he used to give it away or take it home, and after that, cooking fresh again. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share. You know, let me see how far I can go with this. With season 2, maybe, but this might be my last episode on season 1. Okay, God bless you guys, and take care.